What's up, everyone? I think it's been like 2 weeks since I've done a video or something. I'm back. It's kind of hard to tell because the setup is pretty much the same, but I did move, and that was nuts. We did everything ourselves. We had like 2 friends help us, and it was a lot. Like, moving stuff is hard. While I was doing it, I was like, this isn't that bad. This is actually easy. And then the next day, I was like, oof. Hey, pickles and pens. So I'm back. I'm here to talk about a movie I watched literally like 1 minute of and hated. I hated it so much. And while I do that, I'm working on my eyes again. So maybe these bottom eyes, because I haven't even looked at those in a while. Okay, so the movie that I'm talking about today, while I draw these eyes right here, these eyes, make sure you can see them, is Death Note. And I mean, okay, look, so I have been hearing about Death Note for years, like the anime, and I was like, man, that looks interesting, but I never watched it. And then I did watch it. I watched it earlier this month, and I was like, oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my whole life. Like, I loved it so much. I loved Light, I loved Ryuk, I loved everything. Like, I loved it. Like, I don't think I've ever been so hooked and like in the first episode so quickly as I was. And I can't believe it took me this long to watch this show, right? So I finished it in like a couple days. I tried to make it last, but it's only like 36 episodes or something. And hang on, let me like adjust my other camera a little bit. Whatever. So I finished Death Note, the anime, and it left a void in my life. Like, it was done. I watched the last episode, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, fine ending, but I was sad that it was over. And I remembered hearing that Netflix made like a live action Death Note movie. And I remembered also seeing it referred to as an abomination, and I wasn't surprised because Netflix is okay when they make like their own things, but I feel like when they try to build on an existing thing, it's never that great. So, you know, I wasn't expecting much. But still, like, I had this void in my life because I had just finished like the best show that I've watched in a long time. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like look at it. Like, I want to see what a live action Ryuk even looks like. Like, who did they get to play L? Because I was extremely attracted to anime L, and I was like, let's just see how this is. So I go to Netflix. This is gonna be like a story time because I was shook. So I go to Netflix and I search for Death Note, and I see their movie, and you know how like when you hover on it or whatever, it shows you like a little thumbnail and the description, and right away I see a white boy, so I'm like, okay, sure. And then I see that they made his name Light Turner, and I was like, what is this, the Fairly Odd Parents? But sure. So okay, let me keep drawing while I do this. So red flag number 2, because I already knew, like I said, I'd already seen it referred to as an abomination, so I already knew, like, this is not going to be good. So there's that, and then I see Light Turner, and I'm like, ooh, this is not good. And then I click on it, and it's Nat Wolf from, like, the Naked Brothers band. Did you guys ever watch that show? Probably not, because I felt like I was too old for it when it came out. Let me lift this up a bit. That's kind of better. I felt like I was too old for the Naked Brothers band when that came out on like Nickelodeon, but I still watched it because like you know, ironically, I don't know, was anyone else that committed to being weird? So I recognized him, and I you know, he has a look He definitely has a look. But he doesn't look right for Light Yagami. Like, I could not believe that that's who they cast. But, you know what, fine, sure. Like, maybe he's a great actor, I don't know. The only thing I'd seen him in was the Naked Brothers band when he was like 12. So I was like, okay, let me just, okay. And so then the movie is like, no one's talking. It's been like 2 minutes or something, and it's all these weird, like, Twilight-esque pans over like high school hallways and like people playing like tennis, and this Timmy Turner character is sitting like on a bench or something, on a table, and he's like being all weird, like journaling or something. And it just was a lot of scene setting for one scene. Like, I was like, this is not good. And I literally said, I was like, this is giving me Twilight vibes. But Twilight knew what it was. Twilight was like, this is a weird fantasy romance for teenagers. This is not edgy, you know? Twilight knew what it was, but this Netflix Death Note was trying to act like it was Death Note. Like, light? No. So then I saw the girl who I guess was supposed to be Misa, and she was just, again, very Twilighty. Like, she looked like the girl that like smokes Newports in high school and like thinks that makes her a badass, but she's actually just really boring. And, you know, I'm not hating on those girls because most people are really boring in high school. It's not your fault. You're just still growing. But, like, I don't want to watch a movie about that. And if I did, I wouldn't want it to be Death Note. So that was disappointing. So when I saw her, I was like, okay, I don't know why this is Netflix's interpretation of Death Note, but clearly they were just doing their own thing. So I was like, I'm just going to kind of fast forward and look at the thumbnails that come up on the bottom and wait until I see Ryuk, because at this point I just want to see like what they did with Ryuk. And oh yeah, and also before I did that though, no, what killed it for me was when the Death Note like fell from the sky. If you watched the anime, which I feel like everyone did, it's very like, whoa, like it falls and there's no one around, and Light just happens to see it like out a window while he's in class, and later he goes to pick it up, right? So it's very like random that it was him that picked it up. In this Netflix movie, like Light is sitting there and then the notebook falls right next to him and he's like come on, that's not believable. So I'm drawing so slow because this Netflix reimagining live action Death Note thing made me really upset. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm just going to fast forward and I want to see like a live action Ryuk. So I fast forward through the thumbnails and I see where it's supposed to be Ryuk, and I hear him, it's Willem Dafoe, fine. But he's like all in shadow and it was dumb, and I was annoyed because again, like in the anime, Light sees him and he's just like, oh, I figured something like this would happen. But in the movie, Timmy Turner, Light Turner, he like freaks out and like screams, and I am just exhausted by people who can't control themselves. Like that was just really embarrassing to watch. So like, get over it. It's a death. It's a god of death. Like, come on, it's not that big a deal. And then I'm fast forwarding through the thumbnails and I see what looked like a beheaded child or something. And I was like, why is there so much gore? Like, this is so unnecessary. Like, you can't fool me. You can't trick me into thinking this movie has a plot by throwing a bunch of gore in it. Like, I'm on to you. Yeah, Willem Dafoe Ryuk. I know. Fine. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know what that casting choice was. I guess he kind of sounds like him, but it's just Willem Dafoe. It's like making Arnold Schwarzenegger Ryuk. It's like, we know the voice, So I can't really picture anyone else. Like, I kind of wish they had just given it to someone else. Anyway, like someone not as recognizable. It's like when, oh my god, what is the... Oh, it's like when Sean Connery does other movies. It's like I just see James Bond. I don't see an actor. Look, I've done an eye. I need to speed it up. Okay, so yeah, I'm fast forwarding. This is the only movie I've done a video on in my life that I didn't watch. I just fast forwarded through it because it was that bad. So he's all in shadows. You can't really see him, and I'm like, I'm just gonna keep fast forwarding. And then I see like a character who I'm like, oh, it's a black person, and I realize it's Lakeith Stanfield, and he's like wearing this ninja outfit, and he's like got really terrible posture, and I was like, what is he doing? And then I realized that Netflix cast Lakeith as L. And I am all for giving people of color jobs. Like, we all need them. Like, yes, representation. But this is wrong. Like, this should be illegal. You cannot do that. You cannot take someone who looks nothing at all like a character and be like, no, it's just wrong. Like, at that point, I was screaming. Because what a disservice. Like, yeah, I wanted to see a live action Ryuk, but I also wanted to see an attractive man. And instead... it was nothing like who I pictured. Like, Lakeith is a good-looking guy. But, dude, not as L. Find me someone who looks like L. I'm on Instagram. I know there's people who look like that. What are you doing? Is it just because both their names begin with L? That's terrible. That's terrible. You should have made Light black if you were going to make someone black. You could have made Misa black. You could have made literally anyone... or you could have even found a black guy who still looked like Al. Like, what's happening here? Come on. Like, ugh. They could have given him dreadlocks or something. I don't know. I was disturbed and disappointed. And I still had not seen a Ryuk. So then I'm fast forwarding with even more fury. And at that point, I just am looking for a Ryuk. And I'm not seeing anything. I'm seeing just nothing, just people running around. I'm seeing Nat's face. I'm seeing that girl. It's like, it just looks like high school shenanigans. Like, I'm not seeing anything. I think I saw a couple, like, police lights. Like, there was nothing Death Note-y about it. And then, I saw him in a top hat. And I was like, why on earth? What could possibly be happening where Light would be wearing a top hat? Like, in what universe would that ever be necessary? Like, what's happening? It looked like they were at, like, prom. But then that begs the question, like, why would you need a top hat at prom? Like, what are you doing in your life where you need to wear a top hat unless you're specifically just trying to be someone in a top hat? I was upset. And then I still hadn't seen Ryuk, and at that point I had given up because I figured, like, you know what, I'll just Google him because I'm not seeing him in these thumbnails, and I refuse to watch enough of this movie to be able to pick him out in a scene. So, yeah, that's what I did. So I just got to the end, and it's just Nat. I forgot to mention that he had awful highlights. Like, terrible highlights, just all on the top of his head. He looked like Scott Disick. He looked like someone had taken a crayon and just dipped it in cheese. Like, it was terrible. Like, whoever did that to him. I don't know what you were thinking. I mean, do you hate him? Did you just not want him to look good? What did he do to you? Oh my God, that was traumatizing. So then I get to the end, and he's in his hospital bed, and he still has the highlights. So I know that not much time had passed. Like, in the show takes place over years. Like, people died, people aged, people's characters developed, and the movie is taking place over just the course of, like, what, 5 minutes? His hair didn't grow at all. His highlights did not grow out. Like, what happened. There was no character development where he was like, you know what, I don't need these highlights anymore. I'm an adult now. No, none of that happened. And he's in a hospital bed. Who knows why? I don't know. I don't know because I didn't watch the movie. I can only presume that he stubbed his toe. From what I saw in the rest of the movie, it didn't look like anything important happened. I didn't see any hubbub, so probably just something dumb. And he's in there and he's like crying. And then I saw credits. So I just came here on my Instagram to draw these eyes and talk about how disappointed I was in that. Like, how could Netflix do that to me? Like, why? Why would you do this? And they added it, like, I think around the same time that they added the anime. So, and they know that, like, for some reason, collectively, it seems like quarantine brought about, like, an anime awakening. Like, everyone is watching anime right now. And Netflix, I guess, was like, you know what, let's just throw something together and make a couple dollars off of these weebs. And shame on them. Shame. They could have hired like 6 cosplayers and they would have done a better job. And so I did end up Googling Ryuk, like the live action one. And no, I didn't like it. Like, I guess they did as good a job as they could, but I didn't like him. He was too white, and I don't mean like in a skin tone, like literally white, like the color of this page. Like, I feel like Ryuk in the anime, sometimes he had kind of like a grayish blue color, and he was just like white face paint, and he was always stooped. It just didn't look right. I don't know. I didn't watch enough of the movie, obviously, to see him moving around, but it didn't look good. And I'm not normally one to say that blonde white women need more work in Hollywood, but the whole point of Misa was that she's just this gorgeous blonde model. So maybe she didn't have to be blonde, but she should have been interesting and nice to look at. And this, like, future heroin addict that they hired, like, I'm sorry to that actress, I'm sure you're a fine person, and I know looks aren't everything, but when you're committing to building a live action of something, you have to honor the aesthetic. And then this is the artist in me talking, or whatever, and also this is the person who likes to look at beautiful people. I think I speak for a lot of us when I say that. And watching these 6-year-olds, these 12-year-olds, I don't know, these 17-year-olds roll around their high school in their gym uniforms and carry around a 5x7 journal, and I'm supposed to believe that these are ruthless masterminds that I've come to expect. What were they thinking? Like, I feel like Netflix owes me an apology. Like, haven't I been through enough? I'm a black woman in America. Like, I should not have been subjected to that. It should have come with some sort of warning at the beginning. Like, you know how you'll see, like, on the news, they're like, these images may be disturbing to watch. Or, like, before a movie, they say this is rated, like, PG-13 for graphic content. Like, this should have been rated, like, N for no. And it should have said, these images may be annoying. Like, why isn't that a thing? I was so upset. Like, I was already upset that I had finished Death Note and that, like, events unfolded the way they did. Like, I was sad that it was over, and that, like, you know, that feeling you get when you're watching a really great show and it's ended, and you're just like, what do I do with my life now? So I'm already going through that. And then Netflix betrays me and has the nerve to tell me, we have a Death Note movie you can watch, and then it's that garbage. Pile of trash. Pile. I should have known, because the one other thing that I remember, what's his name? Nat Wolff being in was that movie with the cancer people, The Fault in Our Stars. Was he in that? No, he wasn't. But it was in another one like that, like another John Green movie. Is John Green, who wrote A Walk to Nicholas Sparks? Is John Green our generation's Nicholas Sparks? Like, are all his movies also sad romances where someone dies? I'm not into that genre. I don't know. But so, anyway, Nat Wolff was in one of those movies. So I should have known that whoever would be in a movie like that couldn't possibly do Light Yagami properly. But then I was willing to look past my ideas of typecasts because Matthew McConaughey proved us wrong. Like he was always in those weirdo romances, and then he was in like Mud, and he was in Interstellar, and he was great in those. He was like dramatic and interesting, and he wasn't all like woohoo like he normally is in movies. So I was like, maybe this guy can do that too. Like maybe this is his breakout where he's actually going to be a good actor. And no, it was terrible. I only watched him for like 5 seconds. Oh, you know, the other part I saw, one scene that I did watch was when he was just like walking or something, and he had the death note. And this annoying guy, he had like a really strong jaw, so you could tell he was supposed to be like a bully. He was like beating some kid up, and Nat Wolff is just like watching it happen, like slack jawed. He's like, like the worst, the most annoying facial expression I've ever seen. Like, you guys know that I hate watching people who like can't seem to think. He was really nailing that. So he's just standing there, and then the girl who's supposed to be Misa, the girl who looked like she sells, you know, like baking soda and says it's cocaine, she rolls up and she's like, "Oh my God, leave him alone!" And then the bully guy, he's like, "What are you gonna do better?" Or whatever high school bullies in movies say. You know, it was very Flash Thompson, and he like edges up on her, and then all of a sudden, Nat Wolff, like Timmy Turner, like slaps into action. He's like, "Get away from her!" I'm sorry that I just, but that's exactly what he did. He like became like a scared opossum, and he just like, and he was like yelling at the thing, and it was so embarrassing. Like he was like about to cry. It was like watching Attack on Titan. Like I couldn't do it. He was like, ah, but angry at the same time, um, like a toddler when you take their cookie away. That was him. And he's doing that, and I'm just like, ew. So you don't care when a boy is getting beat up, but the moment you see a woman getting like talked to, that's when you step in like you're sexist. That other boy could have used your help. He was actually getting hit. And then like this girl's like, "I'll handle it. You can't handle it. I'll handle it." And then you're like, "Oh my God, you need my help." Like, ew. Nobody asked for your dumb help. Nobody. And yeah, that killed me. I couldn't believe, I was so upset for the whole night that existed, and every time I like happened to see, because of course, like since I clicked on it and fast forwarded through it, Netflix now thinks I gave it a thumbs down, but Netflix still now thinks that like maybe I want to watch it, and so it keeps putting it in my like for you. It's so rude. Like, cut that out. You should know how I feel. Like, I know that all these companies are listening to me. I know you see my searches. I know you, like, have some sort of deal with Instagram where you know, like, the keywords. Like, can't you understand that hate has been used so much when I refer to this? Like, stop suggesting it to me. Stop doing these things. Like, stick to making Stranger Things 11 or, like, Too Hot to Handle 7. You know, stick to those kind of things. Stick to selling Sunset 11. Like, those are what Netflix is good at. Like, remember the Killing? That was a great show. Netflix ruined that too. Like, do not stop it. Like, stop trying to adapt things. Like, and they better not ever try to make a live action anything again, because oh my God, like that was terrible. I I looked up some reviews, and you know, normally like when you hate something, there's always like at least a few people who are like, no, this is really good. Like, I really liked it. This is the best. That didn't happen here. I haven't seen one good review for the Death Note movie, and if there are good reviews for it, I'm worried about you. And stay away from me because I don't trust you. You have issues. Like, it goes beyond like, no, I'm just not an anime fan, or like, oh, I just never saw the original. Like, no, there's no way you could have enjoyed that and also love yourself. Like, you need therapy, you need help. How do those actors sleep at night? Ugh, they probably don't care. They got paid. It's just their job. How does the director sleep at night? Like, how did they get Willem Dafoe and Lakeith Stanfield? Like, those aren't B actors. Didn't they have any, like, reservations about committing a murder? Like, committing a creative crime? My God. Come on. I don't know what to say. I did 2 eyes. And yeah, I mean, like, since I didn't watch this movie, I couldn't say, you know, that I was rooting for or not rooting for anyone. I hated everyone. If there was a villain, you know, I probably was not rooting for them. That movie was the villain, and I hated it. Like, that movie is the bane of my existence. As for the show, though, the show was amazing. And that was probably the best show. I don't think I've ever related to a show so much. It was so good. I know some people hate Light. I don't feel that way. I think he's great. I also loved Elle. Like, amazing character development. Like, it's just so sad. Like, of course, a show that good could never... Like, of course they're not going to do a good job making it a live action. It's like it would have been too powerful as a live action, so they just ruined it. They just made a mess. So that's how I feel. Let me know if you want me to do a video, like, about the anime. Because I thought it was amazing. It would be nice. It would be fun to do. I just don't know if anyone cares. Maybe someday. So, you know, 2 eyes. Boop and boop. They look cute. I had fun. It's nice to get back to making videos. I did miss it. It was nice having a break, but I also missed sitting down and just ranting about movies. So, you know, I'll be back doing this. And yeah, that's it. I'll talk to you guys later.